The first discussion is on robotics and automation for Industry 4.0. 30% of manufacturing jobs will be automated by 2030. So, do you have the right robotics? Sectors where efficiency is top priority, digital processes are opening up new opportunities. In this context, we'll be having the first discussion where we will discuss how to be prepared for robotic implementation that could help to put businesses ahead of the competition. And to session the chair, we are having Mr. Sibabrata Mohanty. He is the head of IBM Analytics Solution Centers at TCS. Mr. Sibabrata Mohanty comes with more than 2 decades of industry experience and currently heading the Analytics Solution Center for IBM Data and Artificial Intelligence as well as automation software portfolios at TCS. His special interests include AI and machine learning, hyper-automation, immersive technologies, and quantum computing. Panel speakers, we have esteemed panelist, Mr. Soumya Bhattacharya, SVP Digital, AI, ML, IoT at Calsoft, a PhD in robotics from IIT Kanpur. Soumya has been working in manufacturing, industrial automation, robotics, and Industry 4.0 for more than 25 years. His current interests are artificial intelligence, ML data, IoT, digital for Industry 4.0, infrastructure, and mobility. Moving ahead, we are having another panelist, Mr. Ankur Goyal, Lead Client Director, IBM. Mr. Ankur Goyal is responsible for Industry 4.0 businesses in India and South Asian markets. Ankur has been instrumental in setting up businesses leveraging IBM competencies in IoT technologies, hybrid cloud, intelligent workflows, and user experience. Prior to IBM, Ankur led Industry 4.0 business at Bosch India, responsible for execution of digitization agenda of manufacturing clients in India and Turkey markets. So can we have the panelists and the chair with us? Please put your hands together. And as already highlighted that we should be ahead with the times, so I believe that we would be completing the session by the time. Thank you.
Hello. Very good morning to all of you, and thanks for coming down this morning. We would like to thank NASCOM for giving this opportunity as well to all of us to talk about a very eminent topic today, robotics and automation in Industry 4.0. So, before we start, let's understand what this industrial revolution is all about. So it's all started with the concept of mass production. So when in 18th century, when the steam engines or steam machineries have come in, the human use started using the steam power to do the mass production, which resulted into the Industrial Revolution 1.0. Then moving on to 19th century, the electricity came into picture, which helped us in increasing the mass production. Moving on to 20th century, the computer-aided machines has generated a lot of opportunity for improving manufacturing efficiency, whereby the introduction of Industry 3.0 came into light. Now we are living in an era where the advancement of technology, such as all of us have heard about artificial intelligence, machine learning, automation, robotics, IoT, have given that thrust to the overall manufacturing efficiencies, and thereby we are living in an era of Industry 4.0. While saying that, uh, uh, Director NASCOM has given a point of view about the COVID-19 and the impact of COVID-19 on overall technology adoption, especially with respect to the digital transformation. And believe me, this COVID has, on the hindsight, has given a thrust to the overall momentum that Industry 4.0 used to get. And that also helped a lot of us in terms of positioning the right kind of technology, tools, artifacts, in terms of increasing the adoption of Industry 4.0 technologies across different sectors, starting from manufacturing to utilities to automobiles, so on and so forth. While saying that, it is also very important for us to understand different aspects of Industry 4.0. So what Industry 4.0 has implications in terms of social and structural transformations, how it impacts on economies at a scale, how it impacts the environment that we live in, and all these aspects we would discuss in our allotted time today. So with this, I will possibly start with a very initial introduction at how the Industry 4.0 market looks like at this point in time. So as on 2022, it looks at about 130 billion USD across the globe, which is increasing at a rate of 16% CAGR, and it is expected to be at a value of about $400 billion by end of 2030. So if this is the pace in which we are expecting the growth of Industry 4.0, then Soumya, what's your view? I mean, how you are seeing this movement happening, and what you feel would be driving these initiatives? And maybe Ankur, you can also have your thought process as well.
Sure, thanks. So originally, Industry 4.0 movement started in Germany, and initial, people who tried to do a digital transformation of industry, bringing in robotics and other aids, they thought there are two important tenets. One is it's not technology, it's the value. That is a driving force. And as we see it today, a lot of transformation which is happening, be it with people, with process, or with machines, this value is most important. Second thing that they envisaged, and this is also, we see it at many places, is second most important thing, it's people, not tools. So when we are talking about the mines or automation of mines, obviously, bringing in the IoT and other things are important, but more important things are people safety, value to people, and also, various kinds of processes and other things which can give the value. What do you think, Ankur?
Yeah, so again, I agree with you. So essentially, to my mind, there are two drivers, right? So every organization looks at the business drivers and the technical drivers. Now, historically, for all the manufacturing companies out there are different business drivers. It could be productivity, it could be quality, it could be efficiency improvement, it could be being more responsive to your customers, and so on. Now, these drivers have been driving Industry 4.0 for last, I think, so this topic was coined in Germany in 2013. I know because I was in Germany at that time. So what has happened is, due to COVID, this change which was supposed to happen in next 10 years, it is happening in 2 years now, right? So this is more of a cyclical change, I will say, but what is happening is the manufacturing firms are looking to be future ready, right? So the pandemic happened, then the geopolitical issues like Ukraine war, inflation, FDI is moving out of India to some extent, and so on. right? So what companies are saying that this macro disturbance is going to happen in future as well. So we want to be absolutely prepared in terms of how the business is going to shape, right? Or how we are going to stand against the macro disturbances in future. So that is the key business driver for Industry 4.0. Coming to the technical drivers, I think tech has gone very affordable now, right? Forget the times when you have to set up your own data centers, you have to set millions of dollars to build the infrastructure, right? You can now today start at probably 10,000 rupees by subscribing to a cloud, right? So it's very affordable. The entry barriers have come down. And the second piece is probably there are a lot of proof points in Indian market, right? So you don't need to experiment. Manufacturing companies don't need to see that, okay, I need to have guts to implement Industry 4.0. There are a lot of proof points over the last 4-5 years. A lot of companies went ahead. They implemented. So I think there's a lot of comfort zone in the manufacturing industry in India today. And I think that is one of the key points that because of which Industry 4.0 adoption is increasing.
And in addition to that, the advancement on communication side, especially with the advent of 5G and others, the entire ecosystem is becoming lot many inclusive, where a lot of collaboration is being seen, which is also resulting in decrease in the price for item, and also giving that additional thrust to introduce new product at a rapid pace to the market. That helps significantly, and it becomes a very critical factor for enterprises not to be stagnant in this kind of world, but keep on introducing new products, new services, make collaborative business so that it becomes more cost-effective one. And the second is it can fulfill the demand, or it can deliver value to our customers. So that's taking your point as a cue. I just included this two thought process as well. So, when we are talking about Industry 4.0, there are also barriers in adoption. There are struggle within the organization, there are struggle outside the organization as well. So, although we understand there are key construct of 4.0, which includes our the data-driven analytics, hyper-automation, industrial robots, sensors, which are typically the IoT devices, most importantly the cyber security, cloudification. So these are some of becomes key technology construct though. But having said all that, what do you feel? What are the barriers that generally we see in the industrial sector in adopting those Industry 4.0 technology within their enterprises?
Sure, very, very good point. I will share my personal experience also. Obviously, technology, most of the technology which are going to industry today, be it in retail sector, be it in mines, or be it in manufacturing plants, were very much there for quite a long time. It's a matter of customization and connection. To give you an example, during this whole COVID times, one of the networking giant, they have connected all their ERP systems with real-time sensors and other things, basically IoTized the whole company. So logistics to supply chain is completely integrated. Now those things are there. Barrier, in my view, is to some extent us, people. To give you one example, at one point of time in one Indian company, they wanted to do the complete image-based quality control, looking at the parts, seeing that whether they are properly done or not. It's quite possible today. Just like drones are taking picture of large agricultural area and deciding the agricultural process, the industry can also automate the process and remove the flaws. But there are people involved. there are today a lot of people who are doing those quality control activities. So definitely, in my view, value is on one side and human psyche is on the other side. And in a country like India, I am not talking about more affluent countries and where people are not available. Definitely, one of the barrier is people. Second barrier is, obviously, I feel, is the accuracy and intelligence. And what I mean by accuracy and intelligence is that even if the robots are doing very repetitive kind of work, but if you look at the most manufacturing company, special purpose machines and quality systems, machining centers, robots, etc., probably will need about 80-90% of the human intervention at absolute point where intelligence is required. One of the barrier is, I personally feel, is that that intelligence. Today, AI has gone to a large extent in the business side and the supply chain side of the things, and a lot of things are automated. But when it comes to the human interventions, the autonomous systems have not reached at that level. To quote Andrew Ng, who is one of the father of AI and leading a lot of initiatives, this Industry 4.0 needs slightly different kind of AI systems and also robots. Different new robots are coming. And also there are business aspects of it which are also barrier. I would request you to talk about those. You were talking about those.
Ankur, you can also think about the industry. So for example, I have a manufacturing setup. I may not know what is my starting point for Industry 4.0. That could be a dilemma in the mind of many enterprises as well. So what's your thoughts on that?
So this is actually $1 million question, right? So when this whole thing started in Germany, in Hannover Messe, there was a dilemma that Industry 4.0 or industrial, so they said Industry 4.0, North America called it industrial IoT. I remember some parts of Europe was calling them as smart factory, right? Then factories of future, and so many jargons came up. Then government of Germany said that while this is fine, intent is common, how do we make sure that people understand what we are talking about, right? So what usually governments do is governments standardize the technology, right? So if you adopt a certain standard, then you are in. If you are not adopting a standard, probably you have your own custom approach. So Germany came with something called as a RAMI architecture, right? It's a very guiding framework around, from a functional perspective, from a technical perspective, how do you see Industry 4.0? So to some extent that solved the problem. Then Asian countries started thinking about it from 2016 onwards. Singapore being the country which is always ahead of the curve, they said that, guys, look, we want to promote manufacturing, right? And this is not something we can import from Germany. This is something we have to make on our own, right? We cannot just import the architectures, we cannot import the philosophies and implement in our country. So what government of Singapore did, they created, with World Economic Forum, they created one paper which defines the tenets of Industry 4.0, right? They also tried to standardize the journey from where one should start, what are the key ingredients of this journey, what kind of technologies you need to look at, right? And what should be your reference architecture. So again, when it comes to India, right, and Sir made a very important point, and I think that government plays a very important role in this, right? Specifically for the smaller companies, for MSMEs, it's very important that government shows them the light, of course in coordination with technology industry, that how you should address this topic. Because as you rightly said, the starting point is not same for two companies, The two chemical companies, two auto companies, the starting point is different, the journey is different, and it's a journey rather, it's not a goal. I remember one of my customers a couple of years back said that I want to be Industry 4.0 enabled. I said, boss, there is nothing like industry. This is not a Six Sigma certification. You cannot be an Industry 4.0 company because the moment you define the goal, right, and you reach there, the goalpost will shift. It's about you having a better productivity. Probably you achieve 3%, 5%. You will want to achieve more, right? So it's a journey, and probably now people are talking about Industry 5.0. People are talking about sustainability, blockchain, all this coming as 5.0, and probably by another 2-3 years, 6.0 will come up. So I think important is that we don't get into the numbers, right?
Absolutely.
But look at what is there behind it. And I appreciate, sir, your vision for Odisha, the way you articulated. But definitely, I think there is a lot of support needed from government for the smaller organization. The entrepreneurs in India in manufacturing sector need guidance. And with tech industry, we are more than happy to support and make the sector grow.
And with the barriers, it also there are certain dilemmas in the mind of entrepreneurs, especially if I have a set of legacy platforms, legacy machineries running on my manufacturing setup, and I want to imbibe the core philosophy of Industry 4.0, bringing in robotics, process automation, physical automations on my shop floor. Then it also a challenge for them to weigh the benefits of integrating the Industry 4.0, the advancement of technology with the legacy platform vis-a-vis moving on to newer set of machineries which would give them those IoT sensor integrated view is also a kind of a dilemma always have in the mind of entrepreneurs and the manufacturers. So what's your take on this?
Yeah, absolutely. Value is the most important thing. I want to repeat that. And what we have observed is that very recently we were executing a project. And what we saw is that there are a lot of statistical methods, AI methods, etc., to predict the failure of a machine, which can bring down the production process and stop the production process. We iterated through those sophisticated tools, etc. And we came to the conclusion, a very simple process may be very, very useful. So if the shop floor is not very sophisticated, still the tenets of Industry 4.0 can be implemented in a very simple way and with very simple analytics process. That is in one way to say that existing factory setup itself can improvise to the basic tenets and can get the value of that. One more example I like to give is that, I talked to two of my friends who are running factories, one in Gurgaon, another is in Karnataka, and they have many of these tools which have given by their suppliers already. But today, they are not using those tools. I don't want to throw technical jargon like OPC, etc. It comes with a product and sometimes it is free. But to utilize those data collected through the machine, and data is mind-boggling in case of machines, is a challenge, but it can be easily done to improve one by one, slowly, the process itself. So many of the tools are already there, but extracting the value out of them, I think that many technologists and various firms can help that, so that close cooperation and little bit of proof of concepting, etc., can help us to move from where they are more towards advanced state.
Absolutely. Any thoughts on this, Ankur?
So again, I think it's a brownfield phenomena, right? This is not a blue ocean.
Correct.
This is very clear. Anybody who thinks that I don't have enough infrastructure or my machines are old. I think that's not a blocker at all. In my experience in last 10 years, I have seen a lot of companies who have lathe machines from last 15, 20, 25 years, right? They have been able to collect data. They have been able to put sensors, get the data out, right? I think it's the hurdle is never in the infrastructure. The hurdle is in the mindset. If you know what you want to achieve, if there is a drive at the leadership level, right, and you know your objectives are very clear, then I think rest of the things can be sorted out. Tech has moved quite ahead, right?
Absolutely.
We are very advanced now. Yesterday, I was talking to a customer in India. They are having a. I mean, we have deployed there. It's a moving robot, right? It climbs also.
Yeah.
It climbs on the walls. It climbs the stairs, and it goes to the areas where people can't reach. It has cameras. It has thermal sensors. Right? All that is possible.
All that is possible, yeah.
I just want to add one more point because this is fresh in my memory. Industrial fans for exhaust are a very important part of a climate control systems in factories, in various other places. And a lot of companies across the world are developing different platforms to provide value-added services, mainly to tell them where it is going to fail. Now, issue is that if somebody is buying a large turbo fan for exhaust, which is a part of their climate control system, there are regular maintenance schedule. And frankly speaking, electromechanical systems are designed with such a factor of safety that they hardly fail before maintenance schedule. Whereas if you go to a very old system, the advantage that you will get out of this, all this IoT and AI ML and predictive maintenance is huge. Because of wear and tear, because of many other problems, susceptibility to failure is much higher and value extraction can be also much higher. So coming to your point,
Yeah.
that anybody can start with very little investment.
Absolutely.
In a small way, by which they can go to the higher level.
Absolutely. And that leads to also in our context, our sister companies, they have in fact very proactively imbibed those automation, machine learning, cloudification, introduced robots on the shop floors, in fact in the manufacturing setups as well. And we have seen in real life, that has given significant importance, significant benefit to the companies, especially our sister concern, who is a car manufacturer. We are introducing new models in every 6 months. And that is possible because the entire design process is automated, entire soft floor is automated. And it gives us enough flexibility in terms of introducing or customizing the existing product to introduce a new product in the marketplace. So there we go. And also in the hindsight, if you look at everything that we do has a negative side to it also. I mean, when we are talking about automation and the benefit, many companies measure the benefit of automation through FTE reduction. How much people are you reducing from your enterprises by doing automation or automating the repetitive task in your enterprises? And at times it creates a lot of inequalities from job context point of view, from wages point of view, from social stigma point of view. So this is also, inequality goes hand in hand with advancement. That's a norm across, if you look at history, that's how it happens. But what's your take on this? I mean, do you see these inequalities in your customer wherever you are implementing? Because we have seen in many occasions, there are resistance from unions, resistance from workers, because they have a fear in their mind that if my enterprise goes for automation, introduce robots, my job is gone on the next day, which is not the case as per us. But what's your take on this? Ankur and sorry. Thank you.
So this is, yeah, I think it exists, right? But this is changing as I see from pre-COVID to post-COVID. This notion is changing. To address this, what we do is we always keep some piece of upskilling in our contracts. And we don't call it out that we want to train your people, but we always make some space for a typical technology implementation that so that people become comfortable, right? For example, we are working with one fertilizer manufacturer, and fertilizer manufacturing in India is highly regulated, right? It's a subsidized market, right? So government decides MRP and all that. So when we got into conversation with the leadership in this company, the first point was that how do we make sure that people adapt it, right? It's a highly paper-based system. People are happy listening to the noise in the machine rather than looking at the sensor data. And in other areas, for example, be it procurement, in commodity, with the commodity prices going high, right? It's very difficult to manually control that, right? Absolutely. Really difficult to look at different suppliers and see. And that particular company gets phosphate rock from 18 different countries. And you can imagine the complexity, right? And then there is a whole lot of restrictions around wheat exports and all those things happening. So we said that, look, the first and most important piece from a technology perspective is to put people at the center. Anything and everything you do, and this I'm saying from a technology company perspective. When we approach a manufacturing company, we never keep technology at the center, we keep people at the center. So what that means is, if we are talking to a leadership, a MD or CEO of a company, we say that the first dimension we need to look at is how this technology will make the life easier for the people on the shop floor, for people in procurement, in finance, and so on, right? Then comes the business value that it gives you. And then later it comes to, how are you going to implement and so on. But it's very important to upskill people and remove this notion from people's brain. Absolutely. Because, see, this is going to improve the overall per capita income as well, right? So no longer you have to do the paperwork. Probably you have to look at the dashboards and do the analysis of data.
Absolutely.
Right? So this actually moves you up in the value chain. But the leadership, the manufacturing companies, they have to understand that people have to be reskilled. There's bottom of the pyramid, probably 30-40%. That piece definitely needs to be reskilled. And to my experience, India has a benefit here because our demographics are in our favor, right? Yeah. We have people between 30 to 40 or 25 to 35
Absolutely.
band. This is the band which is ready to be upskilled, given if you give them the right environment.
Absolutely.
So hence, from a technology perspective, we always keep some kind of upskilling, some kind of a training, classroom workshops, hands-on workshops for data analytics and so on, so that people don't feel insecure with technology. They feel that this is something to help us out.
Absolutely. Any thoughts?
No, I completely agree with that. Today, for example, many logistics companies in India use a cell phone. At the back, there may be a lot of IoT systems which is collecting the real-time data and feeding it on the cell phone. But obviously, the people probably who comes from earlier generation have some sort of resistance. Yeah. But India being a very, very young country and very well adopter of many technologies, if you reskill the people, obviously they will adopt to the new paradigm of industry also. Absolutely. And obviously it has to be done in our way. rather than in any other way. For example, if you go to United States, you will see that a lot of people use custom-made tabs for supply chains, which are extremely expensive. But when you come to India, you will see that same supply chain is being run by simple cell phone. So those are the nuances which are very pertinent for India.
Yeah.
But I think that if the industry 4.0 moves towards that direction, I don't see a problem. But
Absolutely.
reskilling will be important.
Absolutely. I mean, we can keep on talking about Industry 4.0. I mean, it's a never-ending topic. Any thoughts from the audience, if you would like to share with us before we wind up our conversation? Any thoughts from anyone? Yeah, if you can have a mic, please.
Yeah, you are audible.
Thanks for a very useful session. This is Manish Pandey from Infosys. So basically, we are talking about the robotics and automation. Mostly, things come in the mind is digital robot, which is visible. So how the, especially in India, how the automated robots and more automation, and especially in the, let's say, state like Odisha and rural areas, we saw the Bhattacharya, right? So manufacturer of those Bhattacharya, how they can influence the automation, AI, ML. And still, it is very complex technologies.
Yeah.
We know that even in the developed countries and the companies who are in Fortune 500, they are struggling. So bringing that robotics and automation to the rural areas of India, how you see that, and I agree with that, it is a journey. There is no destination. I would like to hear from this.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not sure if you have seen some of the glimpses in the recently concluded Make in Odisha conclave. There are a lot of smaller startups in the state itself are working on drone technologies, on robotics, especially focusing on the small and medium businesses and agricultural aspects. Larger organizations like us also focusing very much on improvement of agriculture by using the advancement technology like the OCR-based technologies, the drone-based imaging technologies, infused with OCR, AIML, entire data-driven analytics, supporting that so that we can help the farmers on the ground with respect to crop quality, the kind of manures that they would use, which would be again infused by the information coming from weather and other systems. So those kind of systems are already being built, or many companies have already attempted that. It's all about generalizing it, make it available at a cheaper cost to the entire length and breadth of the nation, so that people on the ground, starting from the farmer to a business owner, get benefit out of those technologies. Your thoughts?
Absolutely. This is interesting. When I first saw the Bhattacharya, the first thing that came to my mind is blockchain. How can you protect the people who are at the marginal part of the society of their IPs? Like today, one Bhattacharya is created by somebody and then it goes abroad. In the process, probably a lot of people will, emulate that in, for better words, and probably create the same picture where that guy can get the benefit. So today we have NFTs and blockchains which can help. Not only that, when the supply chain goes and goes to different countries, you can create mobile-based supply chain process by which that person can have the visibility. There are various things which are happening in the world which can be easily emulated, but in this part of the society of ours, maybe government help is little necessary to protect that kind of thing or implement the initial part. Private companies also can take the initiative. Second thing, talked about Nalco and their dumpers and various excavators connected by IoT. About 15 years back, with a very famous company in India-based company, I was part of the implementation of IoTized systems. But I was also part of an Australian company where, company has implemented mines of future by, for protecting mine workers. It's a very hazardous environment. It does not take too much money investment-wise, to create the same thing using visions, not so much artificial intelligence, vision technologies, and various kinds of automotive ADAS technologies on the mine such that, a safe environment can be created. A lot of companies today in India are working on hard hat systems, but not many mines in India has hard hat systems. It's not expensive. It's a change of, I would say, the culture, etc. What do you think?
So one, I mean, that I all agree on this. One example, government of Telangana has collaborated with IISc Bangalore. The initiative is they want to create an agriculture digital platform, right? So this platform will have the whole state data in terms of farms, the weather data, and a couple of more data points in terms of probably which is there in public domain, right? So any kind of transactions that are happening, some kind of fertilizer data and so on. This platform will be made available to startups and everyone who wants to innovate. So startups can come, use that platform to make some loan applications for farmers. They can come and make some kind of productivity or monitoring applications. It's all open, right? So the point I'm trying to make here is in India also, and this has been happening in West for quite some time. Now India has started doing this. Government, academia, and industry are joining hands so that the entry barrier for manufacturing firms, specifically the smaller ones, bigger ones have a big wallet they can afford. Yeah. Right? For the smaller ones, this collaboration is going to be a game changer.
All right. So beyond time is always beautiful. So we'd like to conclude our conversation here just right on time. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.